after the game is I think I learned more than they did from Saturday. There's some things that I sure could have helped them with getting ready for Saturday and in the way we played that game in terms of some positioning and some personnel. But we went into that game and tried to keep it pretty simple and just stick to our principles. And I wish I would have done it, helped the guys a little more. They're proud of them for changing as much as they did and grabbing onto a couple things from Saturday to do better today. Yeah.
Is that sort of, does today make Saturday the exception, not the rule for you guys, you think? That?
Yeah, that's certainly where we feel like we're headed. And our guys understand that's where we have to get to, is being a team that's going to force the opponent to run offense and not allow them to get easy things in the lane. Keep that basketball outside of 15 feet and then do a great job of chasing down rebounds. And so no question, that's where we were striving to get to.
Almost looked like a reverse for you guys offensively to what Colorado State did to you, driving to the lane a lot in the first half. Did you emphasize that to the guys?
Well, that was going to be part of the game. If you remember last year's game, in the way that Stephen F. plays all the time, pressure on the basketball, denying passes, so there's some room to drive it. And they do a great job of taking away passes, say, from the top of the key to the wing on the three-point line. You're not going to be able to make those passes against them. So to try to run offense, I talked Monday about that at some of you guys were there. We're going to have to learn to run some offense. Even today, though, we did a better job of passing on some three-point shots. I thought Arias and Paul really mixed it up well. They shot some, they passed on some and drove it. And when I talked, running some offense, that's part of it. But against Stephen F. Austin, it was going to be a lot of dribble drive. It was going to be guys having to make individual plays and attack the basket.
How much better was Jesperson today than yesterday, and how much of just getting back on the court in a game situation helped him today?
Yeah, I thought a couple of the guys were better, and he would be the one that as the game was going on, Sully, I felt like, man, Paul just looks a lot different. And it was just 3 days ago, but he sure looks a lot different. And that's a long time to be out. He was out all of 6 weeks without being on the practice floor. So I would tell you the thing he did do a great job of was staying or maintaining some semblance of conditioning. I mean, he worked and worked and worked on the bike, in the pool, everything he could do to be in as good a shape as he could when he got back on the practice floor, and that paid off for him. But no question, he was much more comfortable today.
With these two games and how different they've been, and with so many other odd sort of matchups coming up, how long is it going to take, you think, to establish that offensive identity and really know what you're going to be? Yeah,
I would guess that's going to take a while. We'll play one more game without Clint, and then we add a piece that we feel like we know. I'm confident Clint's going to be a big part of our rotation and how we play both ends of the floor. So until we get him back into that rotation of guys and figure out what's going to be best, with everybody together, Jeremiah, it could be a while. The thing that I've told the guys since we started practice, we've got good offensive players, and they do a great job of sharing the ball. So, while we're figuring out exactly what's going to be best, I think we're going to be able to play good offense.
Start of that second half, they made an adjustment defensively, and the offense wasn't working quite as well as you wanted to. Did that make the defense even more important, and the adjustments that you made more important?
Yeah, they made, I don't know how many they would say they made in terms of adjustments, but the two that stood out, they stayed in a little bit tighter in the gaps, so there wasn't as much driving room. And then they helped when we were rolling Bennett and Ted and flipping it over the top and kind of playing 4-on-3. They got to him a few times, and they stole that pass. They didn't do that in the first half. And, at that point in the game, then we really got to rely on Wes and a couple other guys, but a lot went onto Wes's shoulders. And I thought he handled himself great.
College players in double figures today, how important is it to kind of get that balance?
Yeah, I think I would tell you that this team, we should have 4 or 5 guys that average double figures, and I believe the 4 of them today would be 4 of the 5. And then you still got an inside guy, possibly depending on how those minutes shake out. Arias, I thought he played good Saturday, but I thought, like Paul, he was much more comfortable today. Had a great first half. Wyatt has struggled just a little bit in both games, but last year he proved that he is a very good player, and he's another guy that. I think those guys, what I would tell you is those other guys can get double figures on a given night, And then I think that this team is built more that way. And I like that. I like that.
Coach, walk-up for Stephen F. Austin scores 30 in the game. Was that part of the defensive game plan to maybe let him get his points, but try and slow down their other guards and role players that they have?
Yeah, I thought about that at halftime. He had taken, I think, 10 shots at halftime and had 13 points at the half, and I thought, do we try to do a little bit to slow him down, or do we let it be and see what happens? And we made the decision to let it be, and he's some of their other guys that are good shooters missed a handful of shots that they're going to make most of the time. So that allowed us to continue to play it the way we were playing it and give some help on him. And we tried to slow him up at different times. He's just he's a good one. He's a hard guy to play against.
This is just one game after one loss, but how important was it for this team in terms of confidence just to get on the winning track?
Yeah, I would tell you that the most important thing for me was to see the adjustments the guys made and the determination they played with defensively. They making that in a short turnaround, knowing we had a good team today. And it's easy to say now that it's over and we've won the game. But had we won or lost, we got 10 minutes in, and I felt like, okay, this is more like our basketball team, and whatever the score ends up being today, it's going to be, that's going to be okay. But this is more like the team that we're working hard to be. So that, and then obviously winning the game, so that would be certainly an important part of it. We've got some new guys and some young guys and some older guys in different roles. So to be able to start to build some confidence is a great thing.
What do you take from these first two games heading into Saturday?
I would tell you the biggest thing is our guys' ability and willingness to make some changes from Saturday to today. And we didn't make as many defensive errors today, so hopefully we look at it and say, okay, let's build on this. Let's do this just a little bit better, and not have to make the number of changes we made from Saturday to today, so we can keep taking steps forward as we get ready for Carolina.
How much do you rely on the stages you played on last year in waiting for the number one team to come in? Because there's a lot of guys in this team that aren't going to be afraid of a lot of spotlights. What do you draw on?
That I think helps the players certainly. That they we've played against teams that have been ranked inside of the top 10, inside of the top 20, and a handful of the guys on our team have been in those games. That helps that they've played those games, no question.
What do you continues to play like this at 7 a.m. You got more early morning games in the future?
Yeah, that's 2 years in a row. We played great last year down there, and awfully good today. I don't know. I think we'll stick to the 7 at night. Huh? You guys probably would vote for 7 at night.
What time did they have to be here today?
They were here between 5 and 5:15. They said just kind of get in at that time.
Able to work some of the younger guys really into the mix today. I guess is that obviously a game plan going forward, but what did you see from them today specifically?
Yeah, Arias had a terrific first half, and he showed the things that we'd played him at the point for a while in practice, and then moved him off the ball to free him up to just be an offensive player for us. And I've told him to come off the bench, and his job is to create offense, whether that's shooting shots or making plays and finding teammates. And in the first half, I thought he did a great job of it. And Wyatt, he's in a little different role, playing more at the point guard position, and he'll catch up fast. Then I just think Ted and Ben, the more they play, and we saw some plays from Ben today that we didn't see on Saturday. The more they play, the less they'll get in foul trouble, and the more confident they're going to get. As I've told you, I think both those guys are good players.
Yeah, Ben really took over second half, beginning first few minutes inside. Was that the game plan, to get the ball to him inside the paint?
That was part of it, just depending on how they were going to guard that high ball screen. We wanted to get it over the top and play 4-on-3, and with Bo and Paul on the three-point line, hopefully put them in a position where they were going to have to decide, do they protect inside out, or do they take away those shooters, which would give Ben a little bit of room, and they stayed wide. And those are those plays to start the second half. For a guy who's 6'11" and hasn't played much, those are big-time plays, and that's where I think as he continues to gain experience and continues to play, I just think he's really going to be good for us.
One more on Carolina. Obviously, you have your main tenets, rebound, defense, and things like that. But what do you need to game plan for specifically with them?
Yeah, I haven't watched them yet, other than a couple minutes. They were on twice this weekend, and I flipped it there and just saw a couple minutes. Jeremiah, that'll be, if you want call tomorrow morning. I mean, I'll have time today. I just haven't watched them. You know, obviously I know their personnel. I know how good they are, but to get outside of what we need to do every night, I don't know that yet. Yep.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks.